Baldoni and his studio Wayfair claimed that Lively, assisted by her husband Ryan Reynolds and Leslie Sloan, her publicist, stole the film from him, threatened to refuse to promote the film, and then threatened to attack Baldoni and Wayfair in the press if Blake.
Judge has dismissed altogether the $400 million defamation lawsuit filed by director Justin Baldoni against Hollywood power couple Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds.
So Justin Baldoni just had a full-on meltdown. And no, this isn't a movie scene. After his $400 million defamation case against Blake Lively got tossed out of court, he absolutely freaked, and the drama is giving Hollywood more chaos than a season finale of your favorite show. Why did the judge throw the case out? What pushed Justin over the edge? Is this the end of the feud or just the beginning? We're unpacking all the spicy details, the backstage mess, and what this means for both stars. But first, make sure you smash that subscribe button so you don't miss a second of the drama. Now, before we dive into all the legal chaos and fiery headlines, let's rewind the tape and talk about how this whole thing even started. Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni weren't longtime friends or Hollywood regulars in each other's lives. But when their paths finally crossed, it looked like the beginning of a powerful on-screen collaboration. It all started with a film project. Justin, riding high on his directing success with emotional hits like 5 Feet Apart and Clouds, was set to direct a new heart-tugging drama. Blake Lively, known for her blend of elegance and intensity in A Simple Favor, The Age of Adeline, and of course, Gossip Girl, was being eyed for the lead.
You know, if this were a competition, I wouldn't need Blair and her posse to win.
However, as pre-production moved forward, whispers began to surface about Blake Lively's allegedly controlling behavior on set. Some crew members claimed she was overly involved in creative decisions and clashed with the team behind the scenes.
I feel like maybe Blake smelled his kindness, mistook it for weakness, and tried to take advantage and take power, so yeah.
So you believe Blake Lively wrestled control of the film?
I think she tried to, yes.
Did she succeed in the end?
Probably, yeah. I think that there was a massive compromise in terms of Justin's original vision for the film.
Still, despite the rumors, everything remained relatively calm, at least on the surface. There were no public disputes, and the project continued to move forward. But that calm didn't last long, because not long after the project started gaining traction, everything changed. Reports began to circulate that Blake Lively had accused Justin Baldoni of inappropriate behavior, both on and off set. At first, it was just whispers, vague comments in blind items, and quiet murmurs across entertainment blogs. But then it became official. Blake came forward with serious allegations, claiming that Justin had created a hostile work environment and had crossed boundaries that left her feeling uncomfortable and unsafe. According to sources close to Blake, she allegedly tried to address the issue privately at first, but after feeling unheard, she decided to go public. As expected, the news spread like wildfire. Major outlets picked up the story, social media exploded, and fans quickly took sides. Some were shocked.
FYI, we have heard from Justin Baldoni's side already. That'll be at the very end. This is all from TMZ, but apparently while filming, things got so bad that there was an all-hands-on-deck meeting where everyone had to come to, including her husband, Ryan Reynolds. These were the demands that were addressed because of Justin Baldoni. She says no more showing nude videos or images of women to Blake, no more mention of Baldoni's alleged previous addiction, no more discussions about in front of Blake and others, no further mentions of casting crews, no more inquiries about Blake's weight, and no further mention of Blake's dead dad. She also demanded that they stop adding sex scenes compared to when she first signed on. She goes, no more adding of sex scenes, oral sex, or on-camera climaxing by her outside of the scope of the script that she originally approved of. Apparently all these demands were embraced and approved by the studio, but the film ended up flopping. One of the reasons that it flops, they say, is because of the conflict over how it would be marketed. So Blake wanted it to be a more upbeat pitch about her character's resilience, and Justin Baldoni wanted it to be focused on DV. This is now where we hear from Justin's lawyer. According to TMZ, he lashed out on the lawsuit, saying it was designed to fix her negative reputation, adding the claims are false, outrageous, and intentionally salacious with an intent to publicly hurt.
Some stood behind Blake immediately, and others wanted more details before jumping to conclusions. Justin, meanwhile, strongly denied all allegations, releasing a statement calling the claims completely false and damaging. Blake said that during their time working together, Justin made her feel uncomfortable in both what he said and how he acted. According to sources close to her, Blake claimed that Justin often made comments about her looks and personality in ways that felt inappropriate, even if he said it was just part of the creative process. She also said that he crossed personal boundaries by touching her without consent and making jokes that felt disrespectful. In a statement from her team, Blake said the experience left her feeling anxious, stressed, and unsafe at work. She didn't press criminal charges, but she wanted the behavior to be taken seriously. She made it clear that her goal was to bring attention to how people in power sometimes misuse their positions, especially in the film industry.
Well, this does not look good for Blake Lively because she is refusing to participate in a neutral third-party investigation into her claims of harassment. Now, we already know both Wayfair and Sony have gone on record saying that Blake Lively never filed any HR complaints throughout production. They claim no formal HR complaints were filed, therefore there was no investigation because, as Wayfair is now saying, they didn't know about these claims until she filed her lawsuit, or at least until her CRD complaint leaked into the New York Times back in December. They say prior to that, they'd never heard any allegations of harassment from Blake Lively. The worst that we heard of with the allegations during production was that Blake Lively felt like Justin Baldoni fat-shamed her when the trainer that they shared, he asked the trainer how much Blake weighed because there was a scene where he had to lift her. She felt like she was fat-shamed, and that's when we have Ryan Reynolds, who allegedly then berated Justin Baldoni in front of Sony execs.
Justin Baldoni quickly responded by denying everything. He said the claims were false and meant to damage his name and career. He also said he had witnesses and messages that proved he didn't do what Blake accused him of. Now, Justin went full legal warfare, filing a jaw-dropping $400 million defamation lawsuit against her. That's right, $400 million. So what was he actually claiming? According to Justin, Blake's public statements weren't just false, they were career-ending. He said her accusations destroyed his reputation, cost him major directing deals, brand endorsements, and upcoming film projects. In his eyes, this wasn't just a PR mess. It was a full-blown attack on everything he had built. He and his legal team argued that the claims were made recklessly, without real proof, and with the intent to ruin his image in the industry. They described it as a calculated move that caused emotional, social, and financial devastation. Basically, Justin believed that her words hit like a wrecking ball, and he wanted the court to see the damage. On the other side, Blake didn't back down. Through her lawyers, she stood firm, saying she had every right to speak out and share her experience. Her team made it clear she believed what she said, and she wasn't trying to defame, she was trying to protect herself. After months of tension, media noise, and legal back and forth, the judge finally made a ruling. And it was not what Justin Baldoni was hoping for. His $400 million defamation lawsuit against Blake Lively was officially dismissed in court.
A crushing defeat for Justin Baldoni. A judge threw out his entire $400 million countersuit against Blake, Ryan Reynolds, and their publicist, and dismissed the separate $250 million defamation suit against the New York Times.
This isn't my night.
Blake took to Instagram thanking those who stood by her, adding, quote, "While the suit against me was defeated, so many don't have the resources to fight back."
So, why did the judge throw it out? According to court documents and legal experts, the case was dismissed due to lack of sufficient evidence. Simply put, Justin's team couldn't prove that Blake's statements were false and made with the intent to harm him. In defamation cases, especially involving public figures, the bar is incredibly high. You don't just have to prove the statement was wrong, you have to prove it was knowingly false and meant to ruin your reputation.
Anytime you write something in a lawsuit, you can never get sued for defamation. And what the court is saying here is that all of the alleged defamatory statements that Lively made came from that filing. There were no other statements outside of that document that allegedly she had said. Whether or not Blake has the upper hand with her case based on this dismissal, not necessarily. In suing Baldoni for sexual harassment, for retaliation, she has to prove those claims.
The court also ruled that Blake Lively was exercising her legal right to speak about her personal experiences. The judge emphasized that protecting free speech, especially around issues of misconduct, is essential. In addition, the court found that much of what Blake had shared was opinion-based or fell under protected speech, making it even harder to label as defamation. Unless her statements were clearly proven to be factually false and damaging with malicious intent, there just wasn't enough to move forward. Now, this all also carries big consequences for both him and Blake Lively. For Justin, it's a major loss. Not only did he fail to prove defamation, but the dismissal may have damaged his image even further. Some in the industry now see him as a risk, and the failed lawsuit could make future projects harder to land. For Blake, it's seen as a quiet win. The judge's ruling supports her right to speak about her experiences, and many now view her as someone who stood her ground. While the legal battle is over, the public fallout and the tension isn't going away anytime soon. And just like that, a once promising project turned into one of Hollywood's messiest legal battles. The lawsuit's done, but the drama, far from over. Do you think the court made the right call? Was Justin's lawsuit fair or just damage control? And what does this mean for both their careers moving forward? Make sure to like, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more updates and wild celeb stories. You won't want to miss what's coming next.